Welcome back to another episode of Kavanaugh's Corner. Today on the show, I'm very excited to talk to you about a new release that just came out this week. This is a Criterion Collection release that I have been waiting for a while, actually since it was announced, but it's probably my most anticipated Criterion release of the year so far. This was a big one. And really, it's because this is a movie that I stumbled upon when I was in college. And it's just one of these movies that's really gone under the radar for way too long. People that know Martin Scorsese know the film that I'm talking about, and that is, of course, After Hours, starring Griffin Dunne, also starring Rosanna Arquette, Verna Bloom, Tommy Chong, Cheech Marin, Linda Fiorentino, who is almost unrecognizable in this movie, John Hurd, Terry Garr, Catherine O'Hara, just a ton of fantastic actors and actresses. One of my all-time favorite films of the 80s. This came out in '85. And I was excited about this because this movie never got a Blu-ray release until now. And on top of that, we're getting it in 4K with an all new 4K restoration. And this was actually supervised by editor Thelma Schoonmaker. And I hope I'm pronouncing her name right there, but she is one of the best editors that's ever lived. And I'm so glad she was there to do the supervision for this new transfer. And I got to say, to just jump right into it, this transfer on here is one of the most spectacular 4K transfers I have seen. And I'm not blowing this out of the water here. This transfer was something that I was very much looking forward to, mainly for the black levels. I remember having this movie on DVD. I still have it somewhere around here on DVD. And with the whole movie, for the most part, I mean, like 99% of the movie taking place late at night, the black levels on this film are extremely important. And I'm very happy to report that the black levels on this disc are basically perfect. It is astounding how well they were able to balance the interior shots, the exterior dark night shots. The colors on the whole movie are just so much improved now, thanks to the Dolby Vision HDR in this transfer. The colors all throughout the film are dead on accurate, and I don't mean in a way where everything is vivid and bright and shiny and everything is like blown out. It is very much a natural look that this movie has, and I'm glad they went that route with this transfer because it's a wild and wacky movie at times. Some very dark, humorous moments in this film, but the movie looks very, very good now. There are some instances throughout the film that really jumped out at me. One scene in particular where Griffin Dunne is running into a subway station and it's pouring raining out. He's soaked, and you can just see the water like dripping off of him. It's incredible how soaked he is from time to time in this movie. But he goes to this booth in the subway, and he's trying to get a token to get on the subway. And the light, this halogen bulb that's in the booth that where this guy is, he that color now, it looks like you're in a subway in 1985. I mean, the colors are just so perfect now. It's so accurate. Detail level is another thing that's really big on this. As the movie goes on, Griffin Dunne becomes progressively more stressed out, and you can see it now more than ever. You can actually even see the fact that like he's getting like a 5 o'clock shadow progressively as the movie goes on. It's really impressive. Griffin Dunne also has a little bit of a unibrow going on, and that is extremely noticeable now. And not to make fun of the actor again, that's just that's the look that he had at this time period, but does a very good job in this movie. He's incredible in this actually. But all throughout, the detail level is extremely high. little things I didn't notice before. There's a lot of shots of like watches and phones and keys and things in this movie. Focusing on objects is something that happens a lot in this film. And now you can see every little detail on every little phone, every little book that he looks at, every little object is so well detailed now because of that 4K resolution. The transfer as a whole now is just extremely natural, but also extremely detailed. And the color palette now that the film has been improved to the point where it just looks like you're seeing this movie in the most pristine way possible. And I think that's the best way to watch any film, is to see it as best as it originally looked without it being kind of overcompensated. The colors, as I mentioned earlier, the colors now have uh, just a little bit more pop to them, but it's not to the point where everything is oversaturated. It just looks real. And, again, hats off to the guys that handled this. The transfer is just literally pitch perfect all throughout. Black levels are perfect. The detail level is high. There is grain all throughout the film, but it has been mitigated to the point where it's barely noticeable now. Again, no heavy DNR was used to the point where you lose that detail level. The grain is very well structured, and I really like that. I like when they keep the grain in the picture. It never is distracting in any way, shape, or form. The picture on this is really like a 10 out of 10 for me. I was very impressed with it, and it just makes the whole movie so enhanced now. And when the daylight hours do come about in this, it's noticeably brighter. Martin Scorsese really went the extra mile with this movie. He kind of had something to prove. And even though it was a smaller film compared to some of the other movies he's made during his career, him and Michael Ballhaus, when they did this movie, they put some of the most incredible camera movements in this film, and it's just such a dynamic film. The camera movements are so wild all throughout this movie, and I love that. This and The Color of Money are both films that just, from the 80s, I should say, from Scorsese. They're both films that just feel like they're just going a million miles a minute, and I love seeing that kind of dynamic direction. And it's not something you see a whole hell of a lot these days, but I love that in this film, and it really adds to a lot of it. And now that this movie has been restored in such a loving and extraordinary way, it just makes the movie that much better. And so I recommend this just on the picture quality alone. The sound on this has also been restored. It is a uncompressed mono soundtrack. Now it's a split mono. It's a 2.0 mono, but it sounds awesome. It sounds great. The dialogue is crystal clear. The music sounds wonderful. Howard Shore's score in this is just haunting now. It really kind of comes at you, and it just amps up that tension and wildness of this film. It's a really good soundtrack, and I'm glad that they were able to, put that in here on an uncompressed format, because it just really is great. The 4K disc on here only has one special feature, and that is a commentary track that we've kind of had before. The commentary track features Martin Scorsese, Griffin Dunne, and Amy Robinson, as well as Michael Ballhaus. Now, the interesting thing is the Griffin Dunne and Amy Robinson part is actually new to this disc. It was not on any of the previous releases. So their comments on there are actually added in. So it's an interesting commentary track. They also included this really cool little pamphlet here that kind of folds out, and I thought it was really nice. There's a really nice article in here about the film itself, And the artwork on here is great. I love the fact that they made it the flyer that is seen during the film. And this piece of artwork on the back I thought was really interesting. So it's some pretty cool stuff. The regular Blu-ray disc also has some other special features on there. There is a new conversation with Martin Scorsese and writer Fran Lebowitz. Some other holdovers that came over to this Blu-ray disc was a documentary about the making of the film, and a new program on the look of the film featuring costume designer Rita Ryak and production designer Jeffrey Townsend. There's also deleted scenes, a trailer, and honestly, I gotta say, it's a fantastic disc from Criterion. They really did a phenomenal job with the picture. Again, the audio is the original audio track, so there's really nothing so crazy about the audio. But the commentary on there is nice, that they added some new things to the commentary, and the new special features as well as the holdovers are really great to have on that Blu-ray disc as well. Overall, I cannot recommend After Hours enough. This is just a fantastic film that I'm glad is finally getting some love on physical media here. It's just been way too long. If you want to pick up After Hours on Criterion 4K, I'll leave a link in the description below. But definitely go out and grab this. I can't recommend it enough. Fantastic release from the Criterion collection here. As always, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel so you can see when my new videos are released. You'll get a notification if you hit that little bell icon. Helps me out a lot. I've been doing this now for almost 10 years on this channel, which is just crazy that we're getting close to that 10-year mark. But I love doing this, and I'm so thankful that you guys are here. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Please stay safe and take it easy.